They asked me to get into which players and coaches, put together a list, are facing the most pressure going into the series. So I put together a little top five. You tell me if you agree with me. And at number 5, I put Draymond Green. And the reason is really very simple. Draymond Green is the only reason the Warriors are not 3-time defending NBA champions. His actions that have created problems and his suspension in the finals 2 years ago, in my opinion, was the only reason that they lost to Cleveland. So I don't expect anything crazy to happen with him. But I put him at number 5 because in the event that someone gets into his head and he does do something crazy and gets himself suspended, that becomes an X factor in the series.
One of the things that Draymond Green has to guard against is exactly what you just stated. Stay emotionally invested and not get emotionally intoxicated. As long as he stays in the game, stays in the moment, continues to flirt with triple doubles, I think the Golden State Warriors continue to flourish.
I'm just looking at the silhouettes completely give them away. Number 4 is Mike D'Antoni. And here's the reason that I put D'Antoni on the list. D'Antoni is one of those signature coaches. You know his style. You know what his teams look like. I think a lot of people enjoy watching his teams play. But I think there is generally a feeling out there amongst some that the way he coaches, his style doesn't win championships. So I think if he should actually knock this door down, knock off Golden State and win a title, it would elevate his legacy enormously.
I want to give Mike D'Antoni a lot of credit for transforming in a one-way system to now one that also can compete defensively. Once you add CP3 to go with Tucker, Bamute, you put them with Ariza and Capella, they can compete defensively. It's going to be interesting to see if they can get it done.
Now, I want to make clear, I love him. I love watching his teams play, but I think there is that level of pressure on him. But I put him as low as I did because there's much more pressure on his 2-star players. At number 3, it's Chris Paul. And look, we all understand the legacy of Chris Paul. Chris Paul, you could put together a bunch of stats that suggest he's one of the greatest point guards that ever lived, that his name should go right there with Isaiah Thomas. His name should go right there with John Stockton. His name should go right there with Magic Johnson. His name should go right there with anyone. But no one puts them there. And the primary reason is he's never done anything in the playoffs. He's finally in a conference final. Winning a championship would completely alter his legacy.
It would alter his legacy. The first time he's been in a Western Conference final. Here's a guy that normally was about making teammates around him better and then scoring the basketball. He's elevated his game to the point where now he's an aggressive scorer that can make threes. I expect him to have a big-time series against Steph Curry.
I hope that he does because he is an all-time great player. At number 2, I'll put his teammate, and that's James Harden. James Harden is going to be the MVP of the league this year, and for all of the debate that we've had and all the joking I did about voting for everybody else, he deserves it. But look, the numbers are hideous. In 5 playoff elimination losses with the Rockets, he has shot 39% from the floor. He has more turnovers than assists in those games. And we all remember the 2 for 11 that he had in their Game 6 loss to San Antonio last year, where he looked like he didn't even want to be there. So I considered putting him at number 1, and I think it would have been an easy choice to put him at number 1, which is why I wanted to shake it up a little bit. But clearly, there's a lot of heat on Harden.
Absolutely. I think Harden should have been 1 and Paul should have been 2 for the reason I'm about to state. This is why Chris Paul came to join James Harden's team. To be that player when he struggled, like sometimes he did against Minnesota or in the previous series that CP3 was able to pick him up. But the last couple of years did end in bizarre fashion. 12 turnovers at Golden State, losing that series. Last year looked disinterested against the San Antonio Spurs. I actually think, like I said, he should be number 1.
Here's why I put Kevin Durant at number 1. I believe there is enormous pressure on Durant, and here's why. He didn't show up in Golden State to win 1 championship and get knocked out the next year, okay? If they lose and he doesn't play well, then I think the fingers get pointed at him. They're not getting pointed at Steph. They're not getting pointed at Clay. They're not getting pointed at Draymond Green. And I still believe we need to see Kevin Durant play huge in moments that his team desperately needs it. They were never challenged last year in the playoffs. They're 24-3 since he got there in the postseason. Some people think this is the best team they've had to face. The memory that is sticking in my head of him is Game 6 with Oklahoma City at home against Golden State when they had them dead to rights and Durant did not rise up and do it. I need to see, or I will be interested to see, if there are moments that they desperately need him to play big to win games in the fourth quarter in this series if he does it.
Kevin Durant doesn't deserve to even be on this list.
Tell me why. I'm talking about pressure on him. He's the best player in the series, and he has to play like it.
You know when Kevin Durant eliminated pressure? He left Oklahoma City. That was the first time.
I think he increased the pressure dramatically.
The second time he eliminated pressure is when they won a championship and he won Finals MVP against LeBron James.
Understood.
So at that point, if he is able to achieve garnering multiple championships. That is the legacy play. But he's already shifted the narrative because he was able to do that so far.
I agree, certainly. Winning the title justified the move. And I want to make it clear, I never criticized and still do not Kevin Durant for making that decision. Whatever's best for him is best for him. But you put this super team together, you bring him to a team that was 73-9, and they only wound up winning one title, and they get knocked out. And again, if it comes down to them needing him late, which we did not see last year, he was brilliant, but he was on a much better team than LeBron was on last year. You don't think there's any pressure on KD, if this thing is close, to be the best player on the floor?
No, because as we mentioned earlier, the Warriors are still the best team in basketball.
Right.
Okay, and we're not even talking about Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, who he plays with.
Right.
I think Kevin Durant understands the moment. And again, last year was seminal for him because he got it done in the first year. If he hadn't got it done in the first year, we could still be having these conversations because that would have meant he lost to LeBron James. He already got it done. I hate to tell everybody, no pressure on KD. And the Rockets don't have anybody that can guard him in this series. So I expect for him to have a big-time series.
I do, too. He's the best player on the floor. I expect him to play big. I expect them to win easily. I've been saying that all week. If they don't, and he doesn't play well, then I do think this becomes his fault they didn't win.
He's going to be like LeBron James was against Toronto. He's going to be like this on D, resting, chilling. But when offense comes, explosive.
And assuming that he is, then everything will be fine. But I do think this is my list. They didn't ask for yours.